Hello everyone! If I ask you to imagine a person meditating, I am sure you're going to imagine someone sitting in lotus position, back straight, eyes closed, and highly concentrated on what is happening inside. And I can understand that it can sound out of reach. It can sound very frustrating. Maybe you think you do not have the time or the patience to do that. And for some of you, it can even sound very boring. What if I tell you that there is many other unconventional ways to meditate, and that maybe in some special moments of your life you have been already in a meditative state without knowing it? My name is Célie Odile, and I am here to help people go through their spiritual awakening, living from their hearts. So let's discover today these simple yet effective tips to practice mindfulness that fit into every lifestyle. When you meditate, your brain produces alpha and theta waves. And these are frequencies that your brain emits when you are in a meditative state. When you produce alpha waves, you are able to quiet your mind and to achieve deep relaxation. And it helps you also to boost your creativity and to increase your feeling of happiness. So when you are into alpha waves, you have an alert but quiet mind at the same time. You are very relaxed, and also you are not disturbed by thoughts or consequences from the outside world. Yeah, you are able to focus on yourself. When you produce these theta waves, it means you are in a deep meditation state. And deep meditation is not the only moment of your life that your body is going to produce alpha and theta waves. For example, when you are in your heart, when you are using the brain of your heart, then your mind produces alpha waves. Of course, you can always choose the classical way of meditating. You can always sit down in a lotus position, eyes closed, and breathing deeply and highly focus and concentrate on the inside. You can always choose that, and it is a very effective technique. Yeah, it's very rich in experiences, and I will always recommend it. Yeah, but with all our different lifestyles, I understand that it can be hard to be regular with the practice. You can enter into a meditative state and produce alpha waves in the following situations. When you do something that you are passionate about, when you do your passion, then at that moment you are very creative and you focus 100% on what you do, forgetting a little bit the world around you. So when you get to that point, then your brain produces alpha waves and you are into meditation. Yeah, it can be, it depends on your activity at that moment, but it can be that you produce alpha waves and also theta waves. Yeah, it can be a very deep meditation state when you do something you are exciting and passionate about. The same phenomenon happens when you do your favorite sports. You're 100% into it, and the world around you is gone. The world around you disappears. Yeah, and you only focus your attention on the enjoyment of doing it, on the present moment. Yeah, I love riding horses, and I remember the horse racing on the beach. Yeah, it was amazing. My horse was going so quick that my feet were almost touching the ground when he was galloping such quick speed. And at that moment, I realized at that moment that everything changed, and I managed to let go. I let go of everything. So it did not matter at that moment all the outcomes of the outside world, or what could happen in the next 5 minutes. I was totally detached from the outside world at that precise moment. And actually what I am describing is the description of a meditative state. Yeah. So it's totally a kind of meditation. When you get detached from everything, you get above the outside world, above the outside reality. Being in a meditative state happens when you walk in nature, especially when you are next to the trees, when you walk in a forest, for example. And if you walk for a few minutes, for a while in the forest, after a while you manage to kind of take distances from the world. You manage to see the world as a spectator, and this effect put you in a meditative state. You're able to take distances with all what you think and the world around you. Yeah. And then at that moment, your brain produces alpha waves and put you in a meditative state. It's the same thing when you watch a beautiful landscape, when you watch the beauty, when you look at the beauty of the world around you. Yeah. It can be a landscape, it can be also a person, animals, trees, whatever. Yeah. When you admire the beauty, then you find yourself in this feeling of bliss and gratitude. And then your brain produces alpha waves. When you play music, whether it is alone or with friends, and when it comes to that moment where the musician managed to stop thinking about which note to do next or which rhythm to hold, when he stops thinking and start flowing with the music, yeah, at that moment in a way of total coherence with the music and the world, then the musician is in a meditative state, an inspirational state. It can even produce theta waves at that moment. Yeah. So it's a very deep meditation state, and it is contagious. For the listeners, for the public, hearing that music down into a coherent state, it puts the listeners into coherence also as well. So the public also enter a flowing state and a meditation state, and their brain produces alpha waves. And I believe that every musician plays music for that reason, plays music to find this kind of moment of flowing state moment, these moments of coherence, yeah, with the music and with the world around them. You can achieve this meditation state as well when you watch an insightful movie or you read a meaningful book for you. Can happen, yeah. It happened to me in the subway. I remember when I was reading this amazing book, Life and Teaching of the Master of the Far East, from Bert Spalding. An amazing book, yeah. I was so much into it that it was putting me, when I was reading it, into this meditation state. And it worked so good that I was in the subway reading it and I missed my station. I realized it 2 or 3 stations after. So a few minutes after, I realized that I missed my station. I was so much into it. Yeah, it put me into another reality, another state, and I was so much enjoying it. My brain at that moment was producing alpha waves. When you drive and you don't remember what you just passed, you don't remember the road that you just made, yeah, it happened to me so many times where you're driving and suddenly you kind of come back to yourself and you realized that you do not remember at all the road that you just made. Yeah. I don't know if this is happening to you, but it happens to me a lot. And in that moment, you're driving and you kind of turn the autopilot on. And so when you do that, you enter a meditative state. You enter even a state of auto hypnosis. Yeah, some people say. So you are very alert. So you are able to drive and you don't have no accident. So your mind is very alert, and at the same time very quiet and somewhere else. Because at that moment, your brain produces alpha and even sometimes theta waves. In auto hypnosis, it can be theta waves even. So deep meditation state. You also are in a meditative state when you make love. When you make love with a partner, with someone that you truly love, of course. When you make love, when you have a powerful orgasm, at that precise moment, sometimes time and space don't even exist anymore. Yeah. You see that feeling of just not being here. Yeah. And you have this feeling of being one with your partner, of being one with the world, no matter where you are, no matter the timing. Yeah. So it can be a very deep, making love can be a very deep meditation state. It can brings you very far in experiences. Yeah. And at that moment, your brain produces alpha waves, full of it. And if you find yourself in a difficult situation during your day and you just cannot take a few minutes to go relax and meditate a little bit, even eyes open, imagine that you do not have this time for you. Then what you can do is use a catalyst, use a reminder that will bring you back very quickly into this meditation state. So how do you do that? Well, when you are in a deep meditation, imagine you are at home, quiet, and you manage to meditate, to sit down, eyes closed, and meditate in a classical way. When you are in this very quiet moment, you decide on a move, you decide on a gesture. And this gesture has to be very simple and discreet so that you can do it very easily in public and no one will notice it. Yeah. So while you are into this deep meditation state, sorry, simply do this move, do the gesture one time. Yeah. So as when you do it again in your daily life, whenever it is, it's gonna make you connect instantly, reconnect directly to this deep meditation state that you were in at the time you decided to move. For example, me, I have one tip like that. What I do is that I tap 3 times on my heart. You know, 1, 2, 3. It is a very simple move, and it brings me back. I can feel it now, and it brings me back straight to this heart connection. It brings me back to my heart, and so to this meditation state, to this alpha wave producing state. Yeah. And this straight away, it happened in a few seconds. It is very effective. So you can find yourself one and use it in your daily life, especially when you have this moment, this overwhelming moment in your day. And I have tried something else a few days ago. I found myself in a very crowded place because I went to see a fireworks with my son. So it was full of tourists everywhere. And I am not used to be surrounded by so many people anymore because I live in nature, in a very quiet place. So to have all these people around me, very close to me, suddenly, it it contracted my body. I was feeling really disturbed, annoyed, and contracted. So I decided to use this very powerful technique that I simply kept repeating inside of me this sentence: I love you, I love you, I love you. And I stopped thinking completely of if it had an effect, why I was doing that, or no thinking. I kept repeating it, only that in my mind. And after maybe 1 minute, really not so long, after 1 minute of repeating it, my state totally changed. Suddenly I was enjoying seeing other people having fun, and I was starting to having fun myself. Yeah. So everything completely changed and shift, and my brain started to produce alpha waves, and this made the change. Yeah. As you can see, there is many different ways to meditate, even eyes open, and to benefit from the numerous advantages of meditation for your health and your spiritual evolution. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment. Your feedback is very important to me. Push the subscribe button. It helps a lot. Hope to see you in the next video and have an amazing day. Bye.